frantic, intense racing in the final laps at Daytona. But it's still Dale Earnhardt Jr. out in front. They've got to take the win away from him.
Teammate behind the 18.
Tony Eury Jr. is clapping, saying, "Come on, Junior, come on."
2 to go.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to block, trying to keep those cars behind him, desperately trying to keep them behind him. He runs so good through the corner, he lets them get a run on him down the straightaway.
Michael Waltrip dives underneath Bobby LaPlante. They bump on the backstretch. Waltrip to second. Elliott Sadler and Rusty Wallace with him.
Coming behind you.
Now 2 team cars race in the 1 and 2 positions.
That's who Dale needs to see in his rearview mirror right now. That's the best thing he can see.
Will Michael Waltrip block for Dale Jr.? Will he try to win the race himself? White flag is out. Final lap at Daytona. 180,000 on their feet, screaming wildly. 2.5 miles to go.
Just exactly the opposite of the Daytona 500. It was 15 and 8. Elliott Sadler is trying to keep Bobby LaPlante behind. He can't do it. But he does move down in front of Rusty Wallace on that fast line.
All clear, all clear.
Bobby LaPlante looking for some help, trying to get up there. His teammate Tony Stewart has never answered the black flag.
And they're 4 wide back between the Wallace boys.
Here they come, turn 4, final lap of the Pepsi 400. Michael Waltrip in second, but it's going to be Dale Earnhardt Jr. using lessons learned from his father to go from 6th to 1st and score the victory in the Pepsi 400.
That's unbelievable.
Yes!
That band behind you did it for
Yes!
you. You guys celebrate. You love you, band. You did it.
That was beautiful. Very, very nice. But when the 8 car does go around the 18, the 20 will go with the 18.
Ricky Craven drops up behind the 55 car, trying to help Bobby Hamilton to the front.
The white flag is up. Final lap at Talladega. Who's it going to be? LaPlante, Earnhardt Jr., Stewart, or maybe somebody out of the pack? Look at this move by Jr. at the white flag.
And Tony Stewart goes with Junior.
Coming with you. 20's with you.
LaPlante blocks Bobby Hamilton.
Cannot believe it.
Contact! Bobby LaPlante's over. It's the big wreck on the final lap. They're racing back for the win. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Stewart are side by side. This is for the victory as Jeff Burton gets in the middle of it. At least 10 cars involved in the wreck on the backstretch. Burton and Stewart are side by side. That's all Earnhardt Jr. needs to see. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won the $1 million bonus here at Talladega.
Easy around this corner because there's a big crash on the back straightaway. Bye, white flag this time, bye.
Michael Waltrip leaving that inside lane tantalizingly open as they come to the white flag. Final lap at Daytona. Will it be Earnhardt Jr.? Will it be Waltrip? Or can Kenseth sneak through for the win? Kenseth has had 2 looks underneath Michael Waltrip. But Waltrip has not yet made a bid on Earnhardt Jr. Kenseth's waiting at Jason Keller behind him.
Not closing. Doesn't have help with
Michael Waltrip with a bob and a weave, but not enough to get alongside. Driving a Richard Childress number 3, made famous by his father. Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the start-finish line. Checkered flag, he wins at Daytona.
Pretty much Dale Earnhardt Jr. spotter, Ty Norris. He's letting him know everything going on behind him.
Contact there, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jarrett.
And Dale Jarrett, he's worked himself into the picture, and there's Jeffy Gordon right there with him, right on his rear bumper, 24 car. Now they've kicked Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car, up to the high side. He don't have a lot of help. We'll be coming to the white flag, guys.
And 4 of the top 5 as they come to the line, make that 5 of the top 6 are 500-mile race winners.
All right, 1 more.
Whoa, 3 wide and contact in the trioval.
3 car lengths back to
And
the
here we go, 1 lap to go.
Darrell, I think if he runs the bottom, it's going to be hard for him to get by him on the high side.
Yeah, I don't see any way. I mean, they're going to lay off of him and try to get a run on him, but he's just too fast.
1 lap ago, they got that run. If Kurt Busch can get right to the back bumper of Michael Waltrip, they may have a chance at Earnhardt Jr.
How about that Kurt Busch? Whoa, how about that's what Dale Jr. got. Dale Jr. just said, how about that Kurt Busch?
But you and Michael are single file. They kind of stalemated. They stalemate.
Oh, this is Dale Jr.'s in the catbird seat now. Those guys are stalling. They're stalling out behind him.
It's just you and Michael. Bring it on home, buddy.
All you got to do is worry about which way to go now for Michael. Michael doesn't want to let anybody get by him.
Trying to get a run.
They got it. First and second.
Here comes Michael to the bottom, and he's going to run out of time. Earnhardt Jr. wins at Talladega. Michael.
Farthest forward of the Richard Childress cars.
Yeah, I think a little bit, couple laps ago, and Tony backed up down in 1 and 2 and tried to get that run. I think that's when he was trying to see what he had. And I guess he assumed not much or not enough.
Yeah. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will have led 55 laps today at the start-finish line. 143,000 on their feet at Talladega as the white flag flies. Final lap of the EA Sports 500. Spotter says keep it on the bottom. Junior will be more than happy to comply. Behind him, Steve Park being challenged by Ryan Newman for a spot. But the front 5, single file. Kurt Busch looking for 3rd, can't do it. Ricky Rudd with a brief peek. Kurt Busch trying to find enough muster to run with him. His father won here 10 times. And now Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to become only the 2nd man in this track's history to score 3 straight wins at Talladega Superspeedway. Earnhardt Jr. to the checkered flag. He wins the EA Sports 500.
Jeff Gordon edges past Schrader. Here he comes after Junior.
This will be it.
Will be the white flag.
Tail lap.
All right. Buckle them up. Tighten them up. Take a deep breath. Show me what you got. Junior's too far. He doesn't need to get way out there like that. They're going to get a run on him when they come off a 2 over here. That was what Jeff Gordon did. He dropped back just a teeny bit so he can get a big run down the back.
And here he comes. Ryan Newman is right with Jeff Gordon in his tire tracks.
1 lap to go, and 16 of the 19 cars are right there within a second of each other.
They can't do it. They can't catch him.
Junior dropped to the bottom to try to break that draft, and now swings back up high to lead them into turn 3. Johnson to the apron and hangs onto it.
Woo. Boxed.
Ryan Newman held the bottom
He's
line.
boxed, yeah. He had to get out of the throttle, and you see him going backwards.
Second last year to Tony Stewart. Dale Earnhardt Jr. started last and will finish first in the Buck Shootout.
Elliott Sadler in that 38 car, remember, he started at the rear of this field by going to a backup car. He's decided to try the high side. Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 even moving up a further lane behind him.
I don't think that Dale Jr., if I was Dale Jr., I know he's got a fast car, but this is no time to start playing around like he did early in the race because he doesn't really have tires. If I was him, I'd be protecting that bottom right now and not playing around on that high side.
1 lap to go. White flag.
There you go.
You heard Ty Norris, his spotter, tell him, protect that bottom.
Got to stay on the bottom now. This is no time to be pulling somebody. Don't worry about that. You just win this race. Stay on the bottom. Mike will take care of himself.
Well, 3 wide at the back of the pack. Now all of these cars are in the 500 if they cross the finish line.
And they all know it, and I've got a pretty good idea. You'll see that they're going to use good manners coming to the line. Jimmy Johnson would like to get to the outside here, but Tony's not going to allow that.
Every position you get from here to the line, you start 1 row further forward in the 500, and here they come.
Yep.
Dale Jr. to win it. Waltrip, Bodine, Wallace, Stewart. Todd Bodine slices to the inside and grabs the spot. McMurray way up high in the orange number 1.
I tell you, that 1 car is fast, but he just can't get it. He's trying to do it on the outside, and it's not working for him.
Time running out. 1.5 laps to go.
And McMurray in the 1, he's trapped on the high side now.
Trouble.
That's faster.
takes Jason Keller with him hard into the outside wall, and then gets hit hard by Mike McLaughlin.
Now this will be the race here. Remember, they will not red flag this race as they come to the white flag and the caution. This is the race for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. under caution will come to the checkered flag to score his 3rd victory of Speed Weeks, something his famous father did 4 times. 3 Speed Week wins, his 16th career Busch Series victory for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. here, look, he's moving to the high side. Remember, they're not completely up to speed right now, but boy, that group behind him, they get a run on him. That's not the place to be, Dale.
Man, I would not have done that, because I would be afraid that would be an invitation for everybody to go under me.
And remember, at Talladega, the start-finish line, not here as it is at Daytona. The finish line is way down here past the end of pit road.
And Nemechek's in a dilemma. He's probably faster, but he doesn't want to go to the outside because he's afraid he'll get all those cars freight training by him. It all depends on who goes with him. If Mio would go with 87, he'd have a shot.
Mike Bliss to the outside. He's got help.
We know Bliss has got plenty of fuel now.
One driver who doesn't, Ashton Lewis Jr. He's out of gas, coasting on the apron, turn 4. And he stopped.
He stopped. We may get a caution. This could be the race. This will be the race right here. Not enough time for a red flag.
Caution will be out.
I don't think Nemechek can do anything with Dale Jr. down here to the start-finish line.
I don't
As long
think
as he hugs the bottom.
Nobody's close enough to help him. Earnhardt Jr. brings them around through the tri-oval. Nemechek looking, but there is nowhere lower to go.
Two laps to go, but this will be the race. That'll be the race. He's not going to get on that 18 degrees of bank, and he can't pass the pace car, but he wants to stay right with it. Wiggling back and forth.
I can see the line. Don't pass that pace car.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins it.
Well, it's certainly reviewable. I can't deny that.
There's Harvick lined up behind Jr.
Boy, if he's got, there they go. No, he's gonna,
Johnson.
I was just going to say, if he's got
Come on back to the caution. Come on back to the caution. This is going to be it. Come on, baby.
If the caution comes out, this will be the race right here. If they do throw the caution, indeed. White flag is out.
Keep coming.
no caution.
No
No
caution.
caution.
Going.
No
They're not going to throw
caution.
it.
No caution. 1 lap to go. Jimmy Johnson got his car going, so we're under green. We have another almost a lap of racing.
Yeah, I just said to myself, if they can make it around without wrecking, I'll never believe that.
Now, Dale Jr. becomes the Department of Defense.
But you watch him, Darrell. I bet he'll hug that yellow line. He don't want to open up the bottom.
NASCAR has called Jr.'s pass a clean pass. This is for the win.
Can he do it, guys? It'd be 4 in a row. He has about a 1/4 of a lap to go. Remember, the start-finish line is way down headed into turn 1. It's not in the center of the tri-oval.
You can't do it, Larry. You can't make it. You're not going to pull out and pass him with a single foul like that.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. 4 straight wins at Talladega.
Miles left at Daytona. Ron Hornaday looks inside. McMurray blocks. Waltrip stays in front of all of them. All right, you're Dale Jr. What are you doing? Are you trying to keep Michael from getting too far back and too much of a run, or you're just keeping your foot down? And
I think you're keeping your foot down at this point. You know, Dale Jr. is looking out the rear mirror as much as he is the windshield right now, that's for sure.
And what about Michael?
Yeah, Michael's doing everything he can. I mean, he's got the gas pedal mashed too, but he just doesn't have a shot unless even with the 3 or 4 cars behind him, they can't seem to make a run. I mean, Michael's doing everything he can.
And the white flag is up. Final lap at Daytona.
And Junior just not letting let Michael get right behind him. He keeps moving around on the racetrack. Michael is on the outside of him, inside of him. He can't get a good pull on the 8 car.
Yeah, he's breaking that trap as much as he can.
And the cars behind him just aren't able to push him hard enough to get to Junior. What you got here is a case of the fastest car pulling the pack around. Half a lap to go.
But wasn't that Michael just said, I can't get up to him?
Yeah. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to lead 4th at Daytona, his 4th consecutive NASCAR Busch Series restrictor plate win, and his 3rd in 3 tries this season. Earnhardt Jr. takes the Winn-Dixie 250.
Trying to stay in front of him. John Andretti getting in the middle of it in the 1.
Now they got the 1 car in the middle of the mix, but here comes the lead. Junior in the 8, leading Tony Stewart in 22nd spot. If Tony Stewart were to win this race, it would be unbelievable because they have complained all week about how slow their car has been. But here he is in contention for the win.
Tony started this race in 19th position. Junior started 2nd. Greg Biffle led the opening 22 laps until a set of caution flag pit stops. He lost the lead in the pit stop. It was Michael Waltrip off the pit road first, and then Junior took the lead from him at lap 37. We've now started lap 50. White flag is up. Dale Jr. seeking his 2nd win in a Gatorade 125. He won his qualifying race a year ago. His other 3 performances on Thursdays here at Daytona finishes as 4th, 2nd, and 2nd. It's a pretty impressive record.
But Tony did complain about his car not being able to close up. You see that gap of 3 or 4 car lengths between him and the 8? That's really what he's complaining about. It will not make up that gap, will not close up on the back bumper of the car in front of him.
Well, his father won 12 of these Thursday qualifying races at Daytona. Today, Dale Earnhardt Jr. takes his 2nd. Earnhardt Jr. wins race 1, close race for 3rd at the line, with McMurray edging Michael Waltrip, it looks like.
Stewart just can't get to him. Kurt Busch got back about 3 or 4 car lengths there. No help to the 20 car Tony Stewart.
But remember, we think back to what happened to Bill Elliott at Homestead.
Dale Earnhardt Sr. here.
And his father in 1990 on the last lap, about right here.
Yeah. Fuel, Junior?
Got a tire.
You're perfect. Not a problem at all. We've been stopping short for him all day.
And lost the race.
They asked me about fuel. And Tony Uri said, you're perfect. We've been stopping early because Tony Stewart had a problem with fuel.
Fans come to their feet as Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Stewart take the white flag. We're in the final lap of the Daytona 500. Jr. took the lead from Tony Stewart with 19 laps to go after he trailed Stewart's orange Chevrolet for much of the central part of the race. Now he's got to hang on for 3/4 of a lap to earn a victory in the sport's biggest event. Stewart not close enough to make a move yet. It's all going to come down to whether Earnhardt has a bobble or a problem in this final 1/3 of the lap.
You can't get emotional yet because you've got to get off turn 4 and back to the start-finish line.
You can see it now.
The legacy continues. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins the 46th Daytona 500.
No movement.
I don't think they've got enough, Benny.
Earnhardt Jr., Johnny Sauter, Robbie Gordon, Kevin Harvick, the front 4. Second group led by Matt Kenseth as they come to the white flag. Final lap of Speedweek's 2004 Daytona. Can anyone draft by the 8 car and pick up the win, or will it be Dale Earnhardt Jr. with the sweep? Richard Childress Racing associated drivers lined up behind Earnhardt Jr., but no one's been able to pass him for the last 30 laps.
And they just can't get close enough. The 27 can't close up on the rear bumper to make a run. It's not that he doesn't want to, he just can't.
Final turn. Final chance, and it's not going to be enough. After a big day and a win in the Daytona 500 yesterday, Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins the Hershey's Kisses 300.
Marty on the 20. Tony Stewart said earlier this week, somehow Dale Earnhardt Jr. and I always find each other on the racetrack. They found each other again. Remember, Tony said his car pushes better than it pulls. I think he'll ride right where he is. Remember the Daytona 500. Stewart was Earnhardt's new best friend.
I think Tony wants to win this thing just as bad as anybody else, though.
Coming through the tri-oval, they will get the white flag this time.
There he goes. Tony Stewart, take a look at the bottom. He's got no help.
And he lost his spot. White flag is out. Last lap. Talladega. Dale Earnhardt Jr. pushed by the car his father used to drive, the 29 of Kevin Harvick. And the veteran Dale Jarrett behind him.
Harvick did all his work earlier on the bottom, Junior.
Oh, trouble!
Jeff Gordon.
And there's the crowd.
Greg Biffle. Casey Kane.
Several cars involved.
But the caution's
No, it's still green. It's still green.
Okay.
They're still racing at Talladega. Last lap. They will come to the checkers this time by.
So there will not be a green-white checker. The white flag is in the air.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. looking for his 5th win at Talladega. Works his way back to the front. And Jr., where his father won 10 times.
Oh, we got a car sideways in the
Win
trail.
number 5, the checker is out, and somebody upside down. Elliott Sadler.
Again.
There you see Earnhardt Jr. putting the block on Vickers twice down the back straightaway.
Denny Hamlin in trouble. No caution. If the caution waves, the race is over.
I think it's got to wave. There's cars all over the place.
Hamlin's moving.
White
flag. Junior by 2 car lengths. But Vickers is there, and he has Harvick tied tight to his bumper.
Ooh, that was a mighty aggressive block there by Junior going into 1.
Daryl, he's driving the thing out the rearview mirror about as much as he is out the windshield. Now, there are those two children's cars to the high side off turn 2.
Junior just got such a whale of a run off of the turn 2 that time. I just don't think they can get to him.
3 ahead of that group in your mirror. Everybody's nose to tail.
Junior stretching it out. That leaves 4 cars to fight for second. Here comes Yaley back, the pole sitter, trying to break into the top 4. And off the final turn, Dale Earnhardt Jr. scores his 21st NASCAR Busch Series victory.
Oh, there's somebody else back there that almost wrecked.
Sorensen in the 41.
I mean,
might
they
have got
are
a piece of the wall.
banging on each other.
He got a hit from Casey Mears.
Look at Jeff Gordon going backwards. He got in the wrong line.
It'll be a lap to go.
Here comes the 11.
Earnhardt Nation up front.
Here they come, boys. White flag. 1 lap to go.
Yippee! This is all right. I love it.
It's the Bell lap. And they're 3, almost 4 wide in the back.
1 there, side by side behind him still.
Stewart in second, looking back from Earnhardt.
Almost every position changed places as they came to the white flag.
Junebug's been getting off of 2 real nice. If he protects the bottom, little blocking if he goes down the back.
1 back there. 48's got a big run
Johnson
here behind
coming
him.
on the outside with Sorensen and Mears.
Watch that outside. Watch the outside. Protect the bottom.
Now is that yellow line your best friend?
It is now. It is now.
Because you can't pass below it, but that outside line, they're getting a run. Here comes Johnson to the high side.
And Earnhardt comes up to block. That opens the bottom for Stewart. And the 30th Budweiser shootout goes to the National Guard Impala, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Yes, sir. Look at those 2 cars. Look at the gap they put on everybody else because of that push they're getting. That was work to perfection. That was 2 guys that really had it figured out when they took the green. It's not going to do them a lot of good, except that these cats back here are going to catch them.
I was going to say they were really strung out, but now they're starting to pull back together. That's the transfer spot race right there. Look at the run. Vickers in the 83 car. It's getting through the high side of 3 and 4. They'll be coming to the white flag.
And you see why, Larry. I mean, the 78 car is dancing around, and Vickers has got a little grip. He goes right by.
He can drive that race car now.
Hanging on to her.
What a comeback from Brian Vickers. He is in the final transfer spot. Remember, Nemechek can fall back on his speed and be in the 500.
Nemechek will not push the envelope because he don't want to get up there and pass Kenny Wallace. Nemechek's in the 500.
78's 2 back.
I tell you what, I am shocked at. I know this is some good racing right in here, but those 2 cars up front have put a huge gap on everybody else and holding it.
This is the first time we've seen anybody get away from the lead pack this week.
That's the biggest lead I've seen anybody have here all week.
There's Kenny Wallace in the 87 car trying to come to the finish line to get him the Daytona 500.
Oh, 3 wide behind the leaders. It sorts out. And the second checkered flag for the Sprint Cup cars in Speed Weeks. Dale Earnhardt Jr. again.
Boy,
Let them straight for now. That was Kligerman on the back of Harvick. Gone sure these guys can keep control of these cars like that. Meanwhile, Earnhardt Jr. and Logano have shot out ahead of the pack. If they get to the white flag before a caution flag, then the race is in its last lap.
Looks like they're going to do that. White flag in the air.
White flag at Daytona. Stenhouse in the mix in the 6 car.
If those front two get side by side, that could open the door for Stenhouse in that 6. He's had a great run all night.
Kyle Busch still bottled up back in traffic. He's 11th.
Looks like Logano might be waiting until turn 4 here. He's getting a run right now.
Stenhouse pushing. Here goes Keselowski.
Got a wreck in it, we keep digging, keep coming.
There is a car in the wall behind them. Here they come to the checkered flag.
You got it, man.
And Earnhardt is going to drive a number 3 car to victory lane at Daytona again. Dale Earnhardt Jr. wins.
Gaining on the leader, Junior comes up to cover. Jeff Gordon now leading the inside row. Unless Keselowski or Busch or Denny Hamlin in the 11 drops down, it's Hamlin.
What a move by Hamlin.
Woohoo! Now, if we get back to the white flag, we have a race. Look at Stenhouse in that 17 in the middle, back and forth.
Boy, he just shoved Kyle Busch right out of the way. Ricky Stenhouse in that 17 to 3rd place.
White flag with Stenhouse up in position to challenge in that blue Ford.
You know what, Larry? I believe that tape's going to stay on there, and that baby's going to come home a winner.
Denny Hamlin has not lost a race this week. He's number 11. Keselowski, the 2012 champ, battling back to the top. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Pied Piper of Daytona, trying to hold them all at bay.
And Kyle Busch was trying to make a 3rd line at the top of the racetrack.
Boy, here they come. Now, this is where it gets interesting. We've seen a lot of passes off turn 4 to the start-finish line, but that 88 is pulling away.
Less than a mile to go.
Oh, we got a wreck.
3rd generation star, Dale Earnhardt Jr. brings him to the flag. Checkered flag waving. It's over. It's Earnhardt.
Good job, Junebug.
Ty Dillon, 33 on the bubble.
Just appears that the car out front has a slight advantage. We saw that last week, and it looks that way right now. Looks like that 88 is going to be mighty hard to get around. I don't think Jeff Gordon's going to help the 22 Logano get around him, so he's on his own.
Justin Marks, the 29 on the inside, the black car. Now he is in the bubble spot.
I saw Michael McDowell in that 95 car. He was trying to thread the needle. Right now, he is not in. He's back in the 17th spot.
Logano wants the lead from Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Now, I tell you, that guy behind him might help him, though. That 4 car of Kevin Harvick, he might decide he wants to help him push up to the front.
McDowell on the bubble. Keselowski out. Dillon out. Marks out.
It's all
Larson
on the line.
in.
It's on the line now, boys. Who's going to make it?
Yaley's in right now. Michael Annette's in.
Here comes a 22.
Whoa, what a slide job, and Earnhardt goes to the bottom to break the draft from last at the start, first at the finish. Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Here goes Hamlin in that 11 car.
Here we go.
Jr. comes down to cover the spot.
And they left Blaney hanging.
Denny Hamlin made the move. Ryan Blaney in the 21 pays the price, and now they're all double wide behind the front 4.
Well, here they come down the stretch. 1 to go.
White flag. Martin Truex on the outside. Menard's coming with him.
They'll never make it back.
And Denny Hamlin goes up there. We got one all the way on the apron spinning.
Carl Edwards.
Big wreck.
Nope. And now there's the wreck. 3 cars hard in the wall.
Big wreck in rear. Keep coming.
Casey Mears, Ricky Stenhouse, Jeff Gordon around. Here come the leaders.
We're still green.
No caution.
Still green.
Come on, boys. Bring it to the house.
Menard to the bottom with Blaney. Junior trying to hold everybody off.
Come on, Blaney. You got one more shot. You can do it.
Earnhardt, Johnson, Menard, Blaney. Double wide behind them. 4 cars to settle it. Earnhardt trying to cover all spots. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Checkered flag at Talladega. Johnson second. Menard third. Blaney, Truex the top 5.
88 got a good start. Now it's all about blocking. He's going to have to block these big runs. They're going to come from the 11 and the 48.
The
only other car to get by the 88 tonight has been the 48. Now Denny Hamlin running second. Side by side for third. Kevin Harvick in the 4. Jimmy Johnson in the 48. This time by, they'll see the white flag. Dale Earnhardt Jr. back to the bottom of the racetrack to block. White flag in the air one more time around Daytona.
11, on the bottom. Here he comes.
They're side by side for second. 2-car length lead for Dale Earnhardt Jr. as they work their way through 1 and 2, and down the backstretch they go. Junior blocking the lower line. Does that give the advantage to the 48? Junior jumps up in front of Jimmy Johnson. To the bottom of the racetrack, Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to stay in front of the pack. They work their way through 3 and 4. Into the trioval they come. Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the bottom of the track. Junior will win at Daytona. And the big one happens behind them.
Oh my God.
Here comes Blaney.
Chase Elliott up behind the 4. Give him a little bit of help. But the Fords have lined up 22 Logano, 21 Blaney in front of Hamlin's Toyota, chasing Earnhardt Chevrolet, and they'll come to the white flag this time.
It's going to get a little dicey here on this last lap because everybody's going to really start to really take the chances that they've been waiting for the last lap.
He's going to be on top. 21's free on the high side. 21's free on the high side behind it. He's getting sharp for the 21 now. Here he comes.
If that 21 can work with Joey Logano, I think they might have a shot at getting to the inside of Dale Jr. Right here is where you're going to have to back up to the car. Let Junior get out there. Don't worry about what's happening down the back straightaway. Worry about what's going to happen when you get to turn 3 or maybe even coming off of turn 4.
Junior just gets off of a corner so well. It gets off of 2 great. It really gets off turn 4. He's been able to gap everybody on corner exit.
Just not quite enough right there.
Can't quite get to him.
He's not through. They're still 1 apart. They're still 1 apart.
1 car length.
Not pushing.
That's the difference. Chevy versus Ford. Spinning goes Brian Scott to the infield, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. will win his dual race for the 2nd year in a row.